Is it better to be an introvert or an extrovert in business today? It's a very interesting question, and frankly, one that I would suggest is not very helpful, as interesting as it may be. You see, I'm noticing that there's a lot of books and there's a lot of speeches that people are sharing on this topic about being an introvert or an extrovert. And as much as it's a powerful way to open up our understanding of preferences, the concern that I have is that we're seeing a polarization. Anytime we polarize groups, one or the other, then it almost becomes a competition. The second problem that I'm seeing is that we're really acknowledging that people have one preference or the others. In actual fact, traits don't work quite that cleanly, that generally people are on a continuum. The third problem I see is that, frankly, we are making a lot of money and a lot of hype about it. It's the exact same trend that I saw happening with the intergenerational workplace. And what it does is it distracts us from the power of an inclusive conversation. So here's where our opportunity lies. If we're going to be talking about an introverted preference or extroverted preference, we need to start embracing the roots of this dialogue, which is about personality typing, and that these are traits on a continuum. You're not all the way one and not all the way another. We're not mutually exclusive categories. This is a continuum. It also allows us to have a broader discourse about inclusivity, because this is probably very similar to what you're trying to deal with in terms of gender issues and women in leadership, of making sure that there's racial equality and that there's religious support and representation. If we consider it to be part of that broader discourse about how everyone is valued and has a place, that's where it's more helpful, as opposed to putting people into camps. So let me share with you a few things that I found in organizations where it doesn't become a polarizing conversation and it actually helps everyone to be at their best. Number one, we need to remember introversion and extroversion is about energy. That's the bottom line of it. Do you get more energy by processing and having a bit of time reflecting and hearing what people are saying, which is more of an introverted preference? Or do you process information best and you get the most energy from other people? Understanding that there is both types of preferences and that folks can fall in that continuum in a variety of places. You could have a bit more of one preference or the other, or you can have much stronger preference of one or the other. But the point is, it's about embracing energy. And even extroverts need time away from people because it depletes their energy. And even introverts or people with an introverted preference will have times when they need to be with people to process good ideas. If we put people in camps and we only treat them according to their label, well, we know where that gets us, right? The other important thing I think that we need to remember is that it's about a balanced conversation. It's about your culture and how you're embracing both preferences and how you have meetings and how you have celebrations and how you process decisions. So if you know that you have people of both preferences, of which I would be surprised if you didn't, do you give information ahead of time so that people can do their analysis and they can review it? But then you also have a discovery process together so that you make the best decisions as a team. It allows you to see, in fact, and really diagnose, do we have more of one preference or the other? Because in actual fact, what that means is that you're not harnessing the thinking power and the intelligence of everyone, or at least you're less likely to. Number three, that language needs to be inclusive. As you've noticed, I've shifted the language to introvert or extrovert. It's having an introverted preference or an extroverted preference. And I can have more of an introverted preference on any given day, even if I'm normally an extrovert. And similarly, if I'm a little bit grouchy, it may be because I've only had myself to talk to all day. And as interesting as I'd like to think I am, it's not as interesting as when I'm with other people. And so allowing people to see that, in fact, there is a much more interesting conversation than are you introverted or extroverted. But in actual fact, how do we use the power of language? How do we use this inclusive approach to make sure that every person is valued and has a good environment to do their best work? I hope you found this to be insightful and have given you further food for thought on this very important concept about how people can do their best work. My name's Sarah McVanel. Be well and be great.